they're going to use it. We have the student, Edward, on his Chromebook in history class, and we have the paraprofessional, Mr. Smith, assisting Edward while on his Windows tablet. Edward has some trouble keeping up with taking notes in the classroom, even with his handy-dandy Chromebook. Let's see how we can help using Cacoo. As the teacher, I am going to create a document ahead of time for Mr. Smith and Edward to use while in class. So I'm going to click on Create New Document, or New Diagram rather. And it will pop up with a bunch of different templates that you can use. There are wireframes, which are kind of cool if you want to create like text messaging chats between characters in a book, and giving those to students so that they're able to guess what book it's from, or for students to use this to create conversations between characters is another way I've seen it used. For the purpose of this, we're actually going to click cancel and we're going to create our own template. So I am going to insert a diagram because I want to create a Cornell Notes template. It's something that our school uses universally, and so it's something that will be used over and over and over again. So I'm going to click where it says that little grid right there, Insert Table, and I'm going to do 2 by 4 or 2 by 2 to start rather. And I'm going to expand it out, and it's really just like creating a Word document in this case. So I will type, I just double click in order to get this to pop up, key points, and then notes, and then these will be the blanks that Edward and Mr. Smith will fill in together as the teacher is giving notes. What I like to do is increase the number of boxes that are available for students to use, and that way they are able to break down the key points into several different sections and things don't start to bleed together. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to share it with Mr. Smith and Edward. And in order to do so, we would input their email addresses to them, and I would do that for both Mr. Smith and Edward for his personal account that he has through the school. The other thing that you're able to do is to create this as a template. So when you click Save Diagram, you just click Template, and I'm going to click 7th grade history. Then when I go back to my home page, it's right there for me to use. Now let's see how Edward and Mr. Smith put this to use in the classroom. So now Mr. Smith and Edward are in class together in history, and they are going to be learning about deserts. I can see it from the bottom of my screen that I am present, as well as Mr. Smith and Edward. There are a few different tabs in which you can actually just continue to add new sheets throughout the course of the unit, so that way you can put all of your notes for one unit in one place. Right now I am the active individual for this sheet, but if I were to click, and you'll see Edward is now the active person using the sheet. So let's say that Edward is typing on his screen, and he finishes and he unclicks the sheet. Then his information has popped up on my screen of what he's added. So then when I have another individual like Mr. Smith working on the sheet, he goes and sees that we're studying deserts and he knows it's important for visuals, and so he clicks on the sheet and now has control and inserts an image. So as soon as he inserts the image, it pops up on the screen. And everyone is able to see it immediately. A really great feature of this is that when students are not taking enough notes or if they've missed key information, the person that is also in the room with them is able to add on to the information that is already there. And then you're able to export that information, as you can see up here, into a variety of different documents. Now, let's say you have multiple students in the room. Let's say that Eleanor is in the room as well, and she is collaborating as well on this document, and so she would be able to be included on this information as well, and she can add information to the diagram or the Cornell note sheet, so that way the students are still doing the heavy lifting, but it eliminates the issue of what is the role of the paraprofessional in the classroom and how can we better support our students. And then once they have finished with their diagram, this can actually be printed off, or it can also be shared with parents. So that way parents are able to collaborate on this information or share the information with students, and it's easily accessible and so that it does not get lost.